All right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for tuning in for today's timely discussion. I'm Congresswoman Lori Trahan, and I'm thrilled to be joined by an incredible panel of guests today to discuss an important federal program for working families across our district. Now, when we passed the American Rescue Plan last year, we include a little-known provision to help families struggling to make ends meet cover their heating bills this winter. The Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, or LIHEAP, helps ensure that working families can afford to keep their houses warm for the next couple of months by providing aid for energy costs. Now, for more than 40 years, LIHEAP has provided low-income households and seniors support for their energy bills, whether electric or gas, during the cold winter and hot summer months. Unfortunately, despite more than 800,000 households qualifying for LIHEAP across the Commonwealth, only 146,000 received aid in 2020. That means 4 out of every 5 eligible families are missing out on critical assistance to keep their homes warm this winter. And that's why it's so important that we're having this discussion today. The pandemic has only increased the need for LIHEAP. Millions of Americans filed for unemployment, and more than 25% of those who lost their jobs reported skipping or needing to skip a utility bill. When we passed the American Rescue Plan last year, we secured $307.5 million for our state's LIHEAP fund. Now, I'm proud to say that's the highest amount that the Commonwealth has ever received for this critical program. With these expanded funds, the historic American Rescue Plan is continuing to support working families here in the 3rd District and beyond by helping to cover the costs of staying warm, safe, and healthy. I could talk all day about just how important LIHEAP is, but I'm fortunate to have a bunch of incredible experts with me to walk us through just how important this program is and provide information on how folks across the district can take advantage of this benefit. All right, so our first guest isn't new to our virtual discussions, having joined us for multiple conversations over the course of the pandemic. Connie Martin is the Division Director of Community Teamwork's Energy and Community Resources Division, where she oversees a budget of $10 million of federal, state, and private programming funds and implements a wide range of programs that serve nearly 14,000 people. Like me, she is a product of Lowell Public Schools, and during her career in nonprofit management, she has held positions in several different sectors, including arts and culture, business advocacy, workforce development, and childcare programming. So we're so thrilled to have you back, Connie. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Next, I'd like to welcome Leona Wetzel. She's the Vice President of Community Impact at Making Opportunity Count, the Anti-Poverty Community Action Agency of North Central Massachusetts. With over 30 years of experience in administration and management, Leona is responsible for the oversight, implementation, and management of multiple program departments at MOC, including LIHEAP. She's also been involved in organizing activism, social culture, and economic justice in the community for many, many years, serving on local boards and coalitions. It's great to see you. Welcome, Leona.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here today. Thank you.
You bet. And last but not least, I'd like to welcome Evelyn Friedman. She's the Executive Director of the Greater Lawrence Community Action Council. And Evelyn joined the council a decade ago following her time as the Director of the City of Boston's Department of Neighborhood Development. There, she was instrumental in bringing $50 million in additional resources to the city to assist in the redevelopment of housing and address housing foreclosures and homelessness. Evelyn also serves on the boards of multiple local organizations focused on housing. Welcome to the conversation, Evelyn.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Well, the folks here right now certainly didn't tune in to hear me speak. They want to hear from you, the experts. So without any further delay, let's just dive right into the questions. This one's for all of you. We'll just kind of go right around. Earlier, I mentioned that last year, the Commonwealth received $307.5 million for our LIHEAP fund, the most we've ever received in one year. As Americans continue to deal with the impacts of the pandemic and high energy costs, these investments will help families cover utilities and pay for energy repairs. You are all working hard to deliver this assistance to families across the 3rd District. And before we dive into specifics on how to take advantage of this incredible resources, can each of you just speak to the ways you've seen LIHEAP have a real impact on families and communities across our district. And Connie, why don't we start with you? Then we can go one by one from there.
Oh, perfect. I think for all of us who've been part of the LIHEAP program for a good many years, you hear the stories, and we hear them every year from families with young children, from families where there are individuals with disabilities, from seniors. For so many people, it is the heating bill is sometimes just that tipping point as they're trying to manage their lives and paying rents and mortgages and food costs and medical costs. It is the heating bill that sometimes can be the thing that, again, that can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I think that, we look at some of the most fundamental things that we know every family, every individual deserves, and being able to be safe and warm in their homes is certainly one of them. And LIHEAP is one of those programs that really allows families and individuals to remain safe, to remain in their homes during, these incredibly challenging, difficult winter months. And I don't, the pandemic made this much, much harder. And now we look at inflation and the increase in fuel costs and food costs and everything else. And it really is one of the big helps that we can offer individuals and families to get through very difficult times.
Yeah, that's great. How about Leona, from your perspective?
So here at MOC, we do not actually administer the LIHEAP program. We work very, very closely with our local fuel assistance program and the participants in that program who are therefore eligible for our weatherization program. And we know that safe homes that are energy efficient are crucial to the well-being of our families. And with our program, households, they on an average save about 30% of their heating costs. And also with our weatherization program, families, again, on an average annually save about $350 per year in energy costs. So we know how important it is, and every dollar invested in the weatherization assistance program returns over $4 into energy and health and safety benefits for our families.
Yeah, and there's no question, as Connie mentioned, with the rising cost of living that we're experiencing right now, that this is it's a shot in the arm for families who are trying to make ends meet. How about, last but not least, of course, Evelyn?
Thank you. Well, in our case, it's the same. We have many families who need fuel assistance and are using monies that they would either use for prescriptions or for food to pay their utility bills, or wait until the very end of the season when their heat or gets shut off and the hot water is not working and so forth. So these subsidies are really important to people. When I walk down the street in Lawrence or the other towns that we serve, I meet people all the time who say, "Oh, I can't wait to get my fuel assistance support because my energy bill is this big, my electric bill or whatever." And they're always thanking us for providing these resources and telling me, we wouldn't be able to heat our homes if it weren't for this support.
Mm-hmm.
Which, think about that. I mean, today is a beautiful day here in Massachusetts, but we've had some, 0-degree days, and I think there's some, in store for us as early as this weekend. So it's so important when we think about, families' safety and well-being. So I'm wondering if we could just talk or just describe a little bit, like, what are the most important things that folks need to know as they think about and prepare to apply for LIHEAP aid? And, we could just keep going in the same order if you'd like. We'll start with you, Connie.
Sure thing. I think one of the key things that I always try to remind, families and clients about is that this is a program that really does kind of hinge on documentation. And the more time and effort that a client can put into getting the correct information to the program, it just dramatically speeds up our ability to be able to process, and ultimately, our ability to get these funds into the hands of families and fuel providers and all that. So it's,
Yeah.
it's not an exciting answer, I know, but it really is one of those things where the more time that's put in upfront can really just have a huge impact on the speed with which an application can get filed. I mean, I'd use as an example, we've taken in almost 9,000 applications this season so far. We've
Wow.
had over 5,500 that have been approved. That leaves us upwards of 3,500, where it's really just a matter of waiting for additional paperwork.
Yeah.
So things can get hung up, and certainly we know it can be challenging to get together all the different forms and whatnot that you need. But staff is here to help, and we do our best to try to help people access information, to make it as smooth a process as possible. But it really is one of those situations where the more that happens up front, the better off and the speedier the service can be provided.
Great. Leanne, anything to add?
Yes, I'm shaking my head because when folks call right away, we share exactly that. There's going to be a lot of documents you're going to need, and we say get a pen and paper, and start writing. And so our staff, our team, really tries to prepare them ahead of time to just try and write everything down, and especially if they're new, to applying, it's really important that they know ahead of time all the documents. So we try our best as well to support folks to get ready for that process.
Great. Evelyn.
And I have the same thing to say about the paperwork. It's arduous at times, but if people have their paperwork together, it goes quite quickly. And one thing we should say is that if you've applied in the past, really what we need is to just update your current information. So a lot of the stuff like your social security numbers and things like that, we already have that, but we just need your new income verification and so forth. Otherwise, if it's a new applicant, it's a little more arduous. Now, at the same time, this year, finally, we really have a good online application process. It took us almost the whole pandemic to get here, but there is an online application process, and that streamlines things very much more. So I would really encourage people, if they can, to try to do the application online.
Yeah. And just an example, I know you can't list them all, but like examples of some of these documents, whether it's, you mentioned social security, income verification, what are some of the other samplings that people should be prepared to produce?
They need to. Well, I think, it's a pretty typical list, I think, but it does include certainly social security information, address, the basic demographics of everyone in the household. That's a lot of times what will kind of hang up an application. And then the income verification, whether that's a social security or unemployment or just straight up, pay stubs. Those are just kind of, it's all documentation that you can recognize is meant to kind of determine the status of the household.
Sure.
So that we can make the decision moving forward. So I don't think it's anything shocking,
Right.
but it is putting it together and getting everything in the format that we need and whatnot is certainly challenging. We recognize that.
Great. Well, I'm wondering if you can speak to the resources your organization offers for LIHEAP and Weatherization. I mean, how can families take advantage of these types of resources?
Can I just go back one time about the applications? So we take the applications and process them, but we're also here to help people with the application. I mean, yes, we have the online portal, but we also want people to know that if they have a hard time filling out these applications, that we have staff here who will help, so that if you don't know what a 1099 is, like last night I had someone calling who said her husband died recently. She ripped up all the information she had, and we were asking for a 1099, and she didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, she said, are you going to arrest me? And I said, no, we just want to make sure you get your fuel assistance. So we're sitting down with her and helping her recoup her 1099s and all the information, because she said her husband handled all of that. Yeah. So I would just want to make it clear that even if you do the application, you find it difficult, we have staff here who are going to help you.
That's great. That's great. And I'm sure vital in some cases. So again, yeah, having you all speak to the resources that your organization offers, certainly LIHEAP, Weatherization, and how folks can contact you and take advantage of those resources would be super, super helpful.
Sure. Well, I can jump in for, community teamwork. Obviously, our, fuel assistance and weatherization, as has been mentioned, are very closely linked programs. So that, a client, a household needs to go through LIHEAP first before they can then move towards, accessing our, whether it's HeartWAP, which allows us to both replace and repair boiler systems, heating systems, general weatherization, which can include blowing and insulation, a lot of other different kind of physical changes that we can make to a house or an apartment to make it more energy efficient. Yeah. Our AMPS program, which focuses on appliances. So it can be a matter of replacing an old refrigerator with a more cost-effective and energy efficient model. And then I know, again, each one of our agencies offers kind of a different portfolio of programs. And all of us are trying to work to ensure that clients who are coming through, perhaps accessing fuel assistance, can also realize that there are other housing supports and childcare supports and financial education supports. The kind of overall goal is always to, as a client comes in, making sure that we're able to connect them not with just the one thing they may know they need, yes, but with the full kind of portfolio of programs that can help stabilize that family and help them make, big steps forward for themselves.
Yes, that is, it's an incredible service that our community actions, all of you, provide. And I could imagine folks not knowing, even if they are a client, right, until you sort of, educate them in terms of all the other programs that they could benefit from. Leona, anything from you?
Just to add on to what Connie was sharing. So the resources MOC offers for weatherization include a comprehensive energy assessment of the home to determine what insulation, air sealing, and general heat waste opportunities can be addressed to help the home become more comfortable, more energy efficient, which also reduces the amount of fuel needed to heat the home. They could also be eligible for the heating system repairs, and if needed, a total system can be replaced. Families can take advantage of these resources based on their eligibility, again, for fuel assistance, the fuel assistance program. They also can apply for the low-income discount rate with the local utility company, which gives them a discount on their electric and or gas bill. This gives them access to the weatherization program as well. And in addition to weatherization, they would also qualify for the appliance monitoring program, which is an examination of their electrical usage of certain appliances like refrigerators to determine if they are eligible for a new one. The program also replaces the old light bulbs with the new LEDs. So those are a few things.
Terrific, terrific. Evelyn.
Same thing. We have all of the weatherization programs, fuel assistance, boiler repair and replacement, blowing in insulation, repairing other things, the AM program with all the appliances. So the same kind of programs, an energy assessment of the house or the apartment. And we should be clear that this can be for homeowners or tenants. So it doesn't just have to be a homeowner. And even if the whole house isn't done, say it's a triple decker, we could do one apartment or we could do all three, depending on the situation in each building. So that's important for people to know. And I also want to say that for people, a lot of times people think that these programs are for people who are not working. That is not true. You can be working and still be eligible for these programs. And we really want people to take advantage of that and make sure that they check out to see if they actually are eligible, because many people are. This is why only 1 out of 5 doesn't doesn't take advantage of the program.
It's so true. And there's no harm in calling to see
Right.
if you're eligible, or sharing the information with a friend or neighbor. Look, the weatherization program is a no-brainer. I mean, we live in a part of the state where we've got a lot of old, construction. And so that blow-in insulation, or that new boiler, or those new windows, or energy efficient appliances, that represents an enormous cost savings in these winter months. So, and the summer months as well. But it's like, it just doesn't hurt to find out if you're eligible. And these are upgrades we want to see as many people take advantage of as possible, because it's in the long run, it's better for your wallet. It's also better for our environment. So I want to be respectful of all your time. So this is my last question. What is the best way for folks in your respective coverage regions to reach out to you and figure out whether they're eligible for LIHEAP assistance? Connie.
Great. And I think the key for us is that we try to make our information as available in as many different venues as we possibly can. So I'm going to start off with, I think, what is probably the most obvious, which is our website. And that's at comteam.org, COMMTEAM.org. And for anyone who gets to the website, right from the front page, you get to choose. Just putting the word fuel in the search engine will bring you right to the LIHEAP page. And I think one of the key things that's available there, and I'm sure this is true for all of our community action partner agencies, is the grid that can show you the actual income level based on your family size. It can give you an indication of what you may be eligible for in terms of the amount of the award. So there's a great deal of information that's contained in that one grid. And I definitely encourage people who, again, it's worth checking. This is a program that is meant to help people who are working, as Evelyn mentioned, and families and individuals in a lot of different circumstances. So eligibility is something that is worth taking a look to see if your household can be eligible for it. Secondly, I'd say we do have a direct line for our fuel assistance program. That number is 978-459-6161. I'm sure these will all be provided too. And, that is that we have both a manned line with live staff, as well as an automated line that can take you through a lot of the different questions to help kind of determine eligibility and moving forward with the program. And then all of our information, again, is broadcast, thankfully, through events like this with the Congresswoman, and also across all of our social media platforms. But I will say, as you have mentioned, telling a neighbor, telling a friend, telling a family member that this could be something that could help them can have a huge impact in getting the word out.
That's right. Thank you, Connie. Leona.
I'm also going to share our website is www.mocinc, one word, MOCINC.org. All information is there. We have a direct line as well, 978-345-7040. We also take advantage of our social media pages as well, on our Facebook, and also word of mouth, as Connie was saying, is big through our clients and our families that we serve.
Terrific. Thank you. And Evelyn, bring us home.
So same thing, www.glcac.org. Right on the main page is a tile for you to click on for our fuel assistance program. Same thing, we have a dedicated line, 978-681-4950. We also do home visits for people who can't access that or need somebody, if they have a disability and can't come to our office or go online. And then the Department of Housing and Community Development also has a website right on their site. That's the state Department for Fuel Assistance, and they will direct you to us in case you can't remember who we are.
Well, thank you. We're going to make it easy on you. We're going to drop it in the chat, but I did promise I'd be respectful of your schedules, and you've been generous with your time. I know how busy you all are with all the services that you provide to our community, especially these last 2 years, which has just been just at a heightened level. want to say a big thank you. You all are incredible guests, but even more than that, you're just incredible servants to our community. And I, of course, appreciate you sharing your expertise. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I mean, we've heard a lot during this conversation about the resources that are available to families across the 3rd District who are struggling to cover the costs of heating their home. So please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to these folks for help. In the chat, we've included links directly to their respective websites where you can reach out. So you or anyone you know who may be eligible can get in touch. They've been working so hard to support our families and our seniors across our district. If you think you might be able to benefit from this incredible LIHEAP program, don't hesitate to reach out to them. So thank you all again for tuning in this afternoon. Thanks again to our incredible guests, and stay healthy, stay warm, and I look forward to seeing y'all real soon. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.